Okay, guys, I'm your Chinese teacher, Bai Xiong. How are you today? Before today's lesson, I want to share a little bit about Chinese culture. Today's topic will be food. Chinese food is very famous among foreigners. Chinese restaurant is also very popular overseas. Although they are not really authentic Chinese restaurant. No, the Chinese food you had in Chinatown is not necessarily Chinese style, just American, okay, localized that. The Chinatown in in New York, it's not exactly white taste. White hair, the taste is different from white hair. The same thing in China, but still it represents some similarities. So, well, it makes sense. If truly authentic Chinese doesn't change anything, the taste, the look, I think it's very difficult for Americans to accept the food since it's so different from their own cuisine. Okay, so Chinese food. When you think about Chinese food, what will occur in you? I think the most iconic item is the tools we use to eat Chinese food, right? Chopsticks. A lot of foreigners they don't use this kind of tool instrument to deal with the food. They use knife and fork. That's more tradition or spoon. But Chinese, well, just like we are pandas, so Chinese food we like chopsticks. Chopsticks. It's if at the beginning quite difficult. You don't know how to use it. I remember once I teach a foreign friend, like this chopstick. Sorry, I cannot. So I need to find a chopstick, or I just use these two straws. Okay, let me just use these two straws. I'm gonna remove the cover. So let's imagine these are chopsticks. See? First of all, let me show you a little bit a trick how to maneuver the chopsticks. You should always, that is, 3 fingers as a support. Then your index finger kind of like this, so you can maneuver it. Of course. Then you use this. You do this. Use your thumb to grip, so you can have a force to pick up the food. So it's very easy. Only you should always remember there's a support. You use 3 fingers as a support. Then you use the index finger to stabilize the chopsticks. Then the last step, you use your thumb to form a force, so you can pick up the food you need. Just practice a little bit. It's very easy once you get a trick. And why Chinese people never invented? We have a knife, we have a stick, spoon too, but why we still use chopsticks? I think it's like it's very convenient. Once you know it, you actually realize how flexible. The chopsticks, how easy maneuvering when you come to food. You can just pick up food, all kind of food, like meat, vegetable, noodles, dumplings, fish, seafood, all kind of food you can use chopstick. And it's so easy. You pick it up and put it into your mouth. I think that most of the chopsticks they made by out of wood or bamboo, so the material is also accessible. You can just, and it's very easy. Of course, fancy chopstick can be quite complicated and expensive, but normally chopsticks is very easy to massively produce. So that's why it's so popular in China, in any Asian country. But compared to that, I think like fork, knife, you need metals, sometimes even the silver. So it's more difficult to make. But of course, with nowadays the industrialized factory is also easy. But now it's just becomes tradition, right? So Asian people like to use chopsticks and spoon. I remember some comment from the foreign friend when they say, when you come to Asian, you just give them a bowl of soup. They're so happy. You just bare their head into this bowl and then just that is. Well, of course, Asian food is not just noodles, but she has a point. Yeah, noodle is a big deal. It's an iconic item to Asian, to Chinese. So, but when it comes to noodles, like all kind of noodles. The two, okay, three. Yeah, it depends on what kind of materials, ingredient the noodle is made of. Like if you made out wheat, like northern Chinese, since most of the northern part of China can only grow wheat, so wheat becomes a more main source on the flour. So then the southern part of China, we produce rice. So there's a rice noodles. Rice noodle actually is very tasty. Personally, I'm a southerner, so I'm more used to rice noodle than normally we call mian, wheat noodle. Rice noodle we call fen, mi fen, rice noodle. But of course, there's a sweet potato imported from, I think maybe from overseas. So now we also have a sweet potato noodle. Sweet potato noodle is very bumpy. The texture is very you can just use it. It's a very the texture is quite different from wheat noodle, and the rice noodle is stronger. So noodles. When it comes to noodles, some people like soupy noodles, a noodle with soup, and soup can come from, normally you have like boil the pork with some like corn and vegetable, something they mix together and boil, make the soup. Or the chicken is also quite popular. You just boil chicken soup, then you drop some noodles in it. Oh, so tasty. But more and more nowadays, people also like to enjoy a noodle without soup. So it's like we call it 拌面 拌面 a soup, a noodle without soup. A soup, a noodle with soup, we call it 汤面. Tang means soup. So without soup, we call it 拌面, just some sauce and noodles. It's different taste. Yeah. So noodle, it really all Chinese have all kind of way to cook noodles, and we use different sauce, saltier, or spicier, or sweeter, or sweet and sour, all kind. We will have different kind of topping, like seafood, like shrimp, fish, or beef, pork, lamb chop, or some vegetable, just vegetable, all kind of vegetables, like also like mushrooms. Just put them together as a topping. Not only make look delicious, but they also taste delicious and also very for nutrition. So yeah, noodle is cooking noodle. It become an art, to Chinese. It's very easy to cook, but also very tasty, very pleasing to your stomach. So a lot of people like it. Like 2 out of 3. Our dinner will be noodles. You can see how popular either noodles or okay. Let me give you some main options normal Chinese people will have for their dinners, for their meals. Dumpling, Northerner love that dumpling. Southerner like rice. Then both Southerner and Northerner like noodles. Northerner prefer wheat noodles and Southerner prefer rice noodles. And when it comes to rice, we also cook like different dishes. We call dishes like pork, fish, seafood, beef, vegetable, some dessert, some bird, chicken, all kind of dishes, ingredients you can present to accompany with the rice. The rice is the main food to make you full, but in order to make it tasty, we accompany all kind of different dishes. We call it 菜 rice 饭菜 You should normal feast normally have all kind of 菜 different dishes. Then you have some main just rice accompanied with some rice. Then you use some. When you come to 饭菜 you also need to remember the wine 酒有酒有肉有that's a good life, wine. When it comes to alcoholic drinks, Chinese people, traditional Chinese people, these alcoholic drinks will be 白酒, no wine, especially Northerners, since the weather is more severe, they need the wine to help them to defend the winter, to survive in the winter. So wine like 茅台、五粮液 this kind of very name brands. So it has long history. Chinese people just love it, just like the red wine. The red wine to foreigners is very popular. And one of the most expensive stock in China is called Moutai. The head out in this industrial, the white wine industry. Moutai. One share can cost at least 1,600 RMB. At its peak, it also reach like 3,000. Jesus, a share, just a lot, very expensive. Okay, beyond the white wine, of course, nowadays Chinese people also drink wine, the red wine, thanks to the international trading. The red wine, we also imported a lot of red wine, not just made local, from in a local factory. We also import a lot, quite a bit, from France, from Italy, from Spain, from all the world. So, but young people also like beers. They think wine is too strong. So they, especially in the summertime, the beer, the cold icy beer, it's designed for summertime. So icy beer, some barbecue, and chat with your friends, share some life stories, for a wonderful time together. That's how Chinese people, young men, enjoy their life. They're together. 烧烤 barbecue 啊，啤酒加啤酒乳串啊。Personally, they have several like beer brand. Personally, I prefer Harbin beer. I think it's easier, but the taste is more present to me personally. But Qingdao beer is more popular, much more popular than Harbin beer. So, beer, white wine. What else? When it comes to drink, red wine, yes. But some people also nowadays, we also go to bar to enjoy some DJ nightlife. So, inevitably, we also encounter the cocktails. But cocktails still remain expensive here. But of course, I think cocktails are expensive everywhere. So cocktail is also very popular among youngsters. Also, I think especially within women, among women, girls, they like that. To them, the taste is more enjoyable. Also, look more westernized, sophisticated, more civilian. They can enjoy this. Food. I'm so hungry talking about all the food. Food is a big deal to Chinese. Chinese people can spend hours preparing the food. Now, normally we will have a stay-at-home mom. And Western countries, both parents have to work. In Asia, well, China is changing, but still a lot of female, like mom, they will stay at home, prepare food during the lunch time, during the meal time for their husband, their children, and their parents. Sometimes the parents would do that, like grandparents who is available would do that. So give more time for the young couples to make more money to support. Nowadays, China, it's not easy to support family in a big city. Kind of force both, like wife and husband, really bust their ass to earn more money so they can support their kids. Yeah, mainly support their kids. That's a sad thing about Chinese. You always work for the younger generation. You don't live for yourself. You don't work for yourself. You work for your parents. You work for your wife. You work for your kids. You work for your family pet. Chinese man. Such a hard time you have. But we say it's Chinese man's no man's. we feel very satisfied, feel it's honored with our responsibility that we can take care of our own family. That's why even we were like really like dog, but still no one really complained it. Okay, I think today's sharing is enough. Chinese food. Well, if I can only talk about Chinese food, I can just talk on and on and on, you know. So don't let me start there. Let's later I'll introduce more maybe. Since our class still need to continue for a while. Okay, today's lesson. Today we will still continue on the vowel. We call it pinyin pronunciation. Pinyin vowel 韵母 syllable 音节 consonant 声母 and tone 声调啊 tone yeah it's a little bit difficult for me to pronounce that, but you get it right. So once again I will review the basics 韵母. Then there are several categories around the 韵母. One by one I will pronounce it, so you will be more and more familiar with these sounds. Alright, remember in the early episode I tried to show out but I failed? Okay, let me try again. The alphabet in Chinese. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, C, E, Z. Z. Yeah. I think I prefer C, ya, Z. Yeah. Sounds more easy to pronounce. U, V, W, C, ya, Z. C, ya, Z. Yeah, C, ya, C, E, Z. Well, because we don't have a Z sound. That doesn't make sense to Chinese. Okay, that's in the alphabet. But today's lesson we should focus on the 韵母. Okay, let me do it again from the basic one. Just trying to freshen your memory. Okay. O, A, O, E, I, U, Ü. A, O, E, I, U, Ü. Then there's another like Z, G, I, E, Z. E have 3 types. E 1 type, Z 1 type, Z the other type. So E have 3 types E in Mandarin. E, Z, 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 a little bit on the back, a little bit on the front, then on the middle. E, Z, zhi. See, that's the 3 type E. And the combination, we talk about the basic one. One letter 韵母 a o i u yu. Remember the E also have other, only have 3. You have 3 type. E, Z, zhi. So a little bit up from, then a little bit backward. Then the R sound, with R, another special one. Okay, then the combination like I, A, O, O, ya, ye, wa, wo, yue. There's 2 letter combinations. Ya, ye, wa, wo, yue. Then 3 letter combinations. Yao, you, wai, wei. Yao, you, wai, wei. So here I only pronounce the sound with the first tone. First tone. I don't pronounce I only pronounce I, so it's just easy, you can get a better idea. This later I will try to open it up for other tones. Then there's others like nissos 韵母, the nisso sound, 韵母 with nisso sounds like an, en, in, and their combination yen, wan, wen, yen, wan, yuan, wen, yun. Okay, one more time. An, en, in, yen, wan, wen, yuan, yun. One more time. An, en, in, yen, wan, wen, yuan, yun. Then the 韵母 with throat sound, on, in, and their combinations. Yang, wang, wen, on, yong. One more time. The 韵母 with the throat sound. An, en, in, yang, wang, wen, on, yong. And well, if you have if I can share with the chatter, it will be easier for you to understand. But of course, I will share it later. So that's the the 韵母, the vowel. But they do have some rules though. For example, like yi, ya, look like I, but we pronounce in e, ya. But if there's no 声母, no consonant in front of the ya, we have to turn the y, the I, into y, become ya. So like ye, ye, ie into Y-E. Ye, but you also pronounce ye. I, ao, yao. Same. I turn into Y, so become I-A-O, I-A-O, become Y-A-O, yao, yao. So this rule will just continue. If you don't have the E sound, no consonant or 声母 in front the E sound, you have to turn this E into Y. It's just a way to mark the 拼音啊。Same rule. If u like u ah wa, so if there's no consonant or 声母 in front of u sound, you need to turn u into w. This u into w. Become ua, become wa, wa. Uo become wo, wo. Uai become wai, y. Uei become wei, wei. Same. Then you can continue. Wan, wen, wong, wong. Yeah. So, but interesting enough, we in Mandarin we have an extra one, the or vowel. We call it yu. How to pronounce yu sound? Like this. Yu, wu, yu, wu, yu. Look at that u sound, but you kinda trying to do this. So how to mark, to write down? You put two dots on top on the u, so become u. On two dots on top on the u sound, so become u, or we call yu. But sometimes the yu sound, when it form combination with the 声母 ji, qi, xi, the two dots will be removed, so it look like u, but it actually pronounced yu. Well, it's just some rules. Later we will have more I will introduce with more details when we come to this kind of letters. Okay. What I want to do next? Well, I kind of want to give you some examples about, since we're talking about the combinations, sometimes you need to memorize all the combinations on the Mandarin, so you know how to pronounce it properly. So since we are, this episode will mainly focus on the Yunmu, let's start it from here. But once again, I only use the first tone. No, just R, no R. Otherwise, it will be too complicated. Okay, so bo a ba ba, po a pa pa, mo a ma, fo a fa, de a da, te a ta. You see, that's called 拼音 one 声母 consonant with one 韵母 vowel, and the tone, just first tone this time. Of course they have other second, third and fourth, but since I trying to give you an idea, so I only made the first tone. Bu a ba ba, pu a pa pa, mu a ma ma, fu a fa fa, de a ta ta, te a ta ta, na na, ga ka ha, ja cha sha, za ca sa a. That's R. R, the 韵母 R with all the combinations on the 声母. So then let's start from O. Here we don't pronounce O, we pronounce O. O, 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 like the rooster. O, O. Bo, O, bo, po, O, po, mo, O, mo, fo, O, fo. See? Remember sometimes I told you earlier, we don't have all kind of combinations. Some combinations just don't exist, don't have representative characters in Mandarin, because maybe some Chinese, they think it's weird, so they don't use this sound, like do o do do, to o to to, do to, no no, go ko ho. No, we don't use that. So when it comes to O, only have a bo, po, mo, fo, and O. O, that means it just the 韵母 without any 声母 in front of it. That's only when it comes to O, 韵母 O only have 5 combinations. 好 okay. How about R O sound? No, bo mo bo mo b mo b, no, p mo p, no, but we do have mo mo, yes, mo, no f, no, then but de, yes, de t n g k h, yes, j ch sh r z c s e. So you see some combination just don't exist in Mandarin because the sounds weird, not pretty, not pleasing. So the ancestor just don't choose not to use it. Okay, one more time. M, d, t, n, d, g, k, h, j, ch, sh, r, z, c, s, e. And now I, let's come from I. I, by, pi, my, no phi, no phi. My, die, tie, nai, lie, guy, kai, hi, jai, chai, shai, zai, cai, sai, I. Well, if you're smart enough, sometimes you will realize also the combinations don't have a certain tone. So it's not every that. For example, pi, 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 yes. Bai, 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 yes. My, 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 yes. For, no. For, yes. For, no. For, no. Only have for, yes. So you see some combination only have a certain tone. Then it makes sense. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense to mainlanders. Okay, let's continue. A, bay, pay, may, fei, day, nay, lay, gay, k, hey, j, shay, z, a, n, ao, bao, pao, mau, dao, tao, now, now, gao, cow, how, zhao, chao, shao, rao, zao, cao, sao, ao. Well, I know it sounds like foreigner, especially foreigner, since you don't know the difference, the meaning of tones. So you just sound like without tones. Look like I just made myself sounds like a foreigner. I'll try again. Ao, bao, pao, mau, dao, tao, now, now, gao, cow, how, zhao, chao, shao, rao, zao, cao, sao, ao. Okay, that's ao sound. The ao, ao with all the combinations, useful combinations with 声母. And o, po, mo, fo, do, to, no, lo, go, ko, ho, zhou, chou, shou, rou, zou, co, so, o. That's o. Then we also have ban, pan, man, fan, dan, tan, nan, lan, gan, kan, han, zhan, chan, shan, ran, zan, can, san, an. That's sound. 韵母 then continue with 韵母 n. Ben, pen, men, fen, den, nen, gen, ken, hen, zhen, chen, shen, ren, zen, cen, sen, en. That's 韵母 n. And we also have on, the throat. N and on and n. That's nisol 韵母. And we have a throat sound 韵母. On, bong, pong, mong, fong, dong, tong, nong, lang, gong, kang, han, zhang, chang, shan, rang, zan, tang, sang, ang. And another one. Peng, peng, meng, feng, deng, teng, neng, leng, geng, keng, heng, zheng, cheng, sheng, reng, zeng, ceng, seng, en. See? And all on the previous the 韵母 sounds is called they are all a type. 开口呼 and maybe they have some similarity, so a lot of Chinese scholars they decide to put all these sounds together as one group. Then I will introduce you another group like 一起止呼. When you pronounce this group of sounds, you must singularize your T's. 一 B, P, me, D, T, ni, li, G, chi, xi. You see my T's? They are together. And E, N, ya, lia, lia, jia, cha, xia, ya, ye, bie, pie, mie, tie, tie, nie, nie, jie, qie, xie, ye. And yao, biao, piao, miao, diao, tiao, niao, liao, jiao, 敲削腰 and you mu丢妞溜啾秋修 you and 烟边偏面颠天年年间千仙烟 and 阴冰拼命宁宁金清新阴 and 央娘娘亮江枪香阳 and 应兵平明丁听宁宁经清兴英 Okay, that's another group. And let's go 起齿呼 Okay, and how about this? 合口呼 Another group. 乌 不 So I guess 合口呼 must do this 乌 sound. 不 pu 木 fu 嘟 tu nu 噜 gu 哭 hu 猪 出 书 ru 租 出 苏 乌 哇 呱 夸 花 抓 歘 刷 哇 窝 多 托 诺 啰 锅 阔 豁 捉 戳 说 若 作 搓 缩 窝 歪 乖 快 坏 拽 揣 摔 歪 微 堆 推 归 亏 灰 追 吹 追 吹 睡 瑞 追 催 虽 微 弯 端 团 暖 乱 光 宽 欢 转 穿 栓 软 钻 窜 酸 弯 温 蹲 吞 抡 滚 坤 混 准 春 顺 润 尊 村 孙 温 弯 关 宽 欢 转 穿 栓 弯 温 翁 东 通 弄 龙 公 空 轰 中 冲 容 宗 葱 松 and let's call 合口呼 合口 you must I guess you have to use both your mouth. Then the last group is called 撮口呼 ü sound 女 驴 居 屈 须 于 约 虐 略 撅 缺 削 约 捐 渊 渊 捐 圈 宣 渊 晕 君 群 勋 晕 庸 囧 穷 凶 庸 Okay, that's all the combinations commonly used in Mandarin. It's quite a bit of sounds. It's tired. So I will give you more example later. But that's today's lesson. So you're more familiar with the Yunmu, and you also know about a little bit about Chinese school thing, right? See you next time, guys. Thank you to stop by and watching the videos. Love you. Enjoy your day. Bye bye.